Good evening. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman Television's 7 o'clock news bulletin. First, the headlines. His Excellency, the Indian Prime Minister, arrives in the Sultanate on an official two-day visit. Coinciding with the Oman Industry Day, the winners of the Sultan Qaboos Award for Industrial Excellence are honored. The Minister of Health launches national policy and multi-sectoral on non-communicable diseases. And third annual festival for Arabian camels is inaugurated in Al-Bashai race track amid wide participation of camels owners. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Excellency Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, arrived here this evening on a two-day visit to the Sultanate, during which he will be given an audience by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. His Highness Said Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, led the welcoming party for the guest and his accompanying delegation upon their arrival at the Royal Airport. The guest was given an official welcome ceremony. When the airplane carrying the guest came to a stop in the place specified for it, His Highness Said Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed received and welcomed him in the Sultanate, wishing him and his accompanying delegation a successful visit and a pleasant stay. Then, the guest introduced his accompanying senior officials to His Highness Said Fahad. After that, Said Fahad accompanied the guest to the dais of honor, where the Protocols Guard of Royal Oman Police performed the salute and the national anthem of the India and the royal anthem of Oman were played. Then the commandant of the Protocols Guard proceeded to the dais to obtain permission from the guest and Sayyid Fahad to inspect the front column of the Protocols Guard. After inspecting the Protocols Guard, the guest then shook hands with the welcoming party members comprising ministers, the head and members of the mission of the owner that will accompany him, Ambassador of the Moroccan Kingdom to the Sultanate, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, senior officers of the Sultan's Armed Forces and Royal Oman Police, and members of the Indian Embassy in the Sultanate. During the visit, the Indian Prime Minister is accompanied by an official delegation, National Security Advisor, Foreign Secretary, Secretary ER, Additional Secretary to the Prime Minister, accredited Ambassador of the Republic of India to the Sultanate, Joint Secretary to the Prime Minister, Joint Secretary Gulf, Joint Secretary External Publicity, spokesperson for the Ministry of External Affairs, and a number of officials. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Saeed, Her Excellency Dr. Madiha bint Ahmed Al-Shaybaniya, Minister of Education, presided over the honoring ceremony of the winners of the Sultan Qaboos Award for Industrial Excellence 2017-2018 today at Oman Convention and Exhibition Center. The Sultan Qaboos Award for Industrial Excellence is organized every 2 years with the aim of contributing to the development of Omani industry. In this edition of the award, 19 industrial establishments from various governorates of the Sultanate are taking part. The award focuses on evaluating the participating industrial establishments through a number of criteria, including leadership, production and manufacturing process, customers' relationship, employees' safety, work environment, contribution to social responsibility, and innovation in manufacturing operations, as well as industrial and financial performance of the plant and the marketing of the product. On the sideline of the ceremony, an exhibition is organized comprising 19 companies that are taking part in the award, with the participation of the Industrial Innovation Center and Sohar University. After a slight decrease estimated by 26% in 2015, the industrial sector regained its growth in 2017, contributing by more than 1.8 billion Omani Riyals to the Sultanate gross domestic product. That was stated by His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masood As-Sinaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, during his meeting with industrialists. The meeting came on the sideline of the celebrations of Oman Industry Day, which falls on the 9th of February every year. The meeting reviewed the main developments in the industrial sector and challenges facing this sector. His Excellency the Minister of Commerce and Industry affirmed that the industrial sector availed 1,500 male and female job seekers recently, as per the Council of Ministers' decision to provide 25,000 jobs for Omanis. The meeting also dwelt on the importance of using modern technology in the factories and the ministry trend towards establishing housing complexes in the industrial estates, along with providing these complexes with entertainment facilities. In a statement to the Sultanate of Oman and television, His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud Al-Sinadi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, affirmed that the percentage of the Omani chief executive officers in the industrial sector increased recently thanks to National Chief Executive Officer now speaks. The Minister of Health launches national policy and multi-sectorial on non-communicable diseases under the auspices of His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Saeed, advisor to His Majesty the Sultan, in the presence of His Excellency the Director General of World Health Organization and Minister of Health. More details in the following report. The launching of the National Policy and Multi-Sectorial Plan on Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases aimed at reducing the premature deaths resulting from the non-communicable diseases by 25% at the year 2025 and contains 8 chapters addressing the various aspects of prevention and control the non-communicable diseases in the Sultanate. The Minister of Health pointed out in his speech that this ceremony is a crowning for the collective work which lasted for nearly 2 years, involving all health-relevant sectors and a number of national and international partners. This work has yielded a clear national policy which subsequently developed into a comprehensive national plan to address the priorities and challenges of the health system in the Sultanate. He also added that the non-communicable diseases are the real risk and one of the biggest challenges to the development in the 21st century. They represent the major cause of morbidity and mortality global-wise.
Of course, today we've launched the strategy for compacting non-communicable diseases and an action plan for that as well. Unfortunately, worldwide, the non-communicable diseases, and the most common one of them are cancer, cardiovascular diseases, that's heart disease, diabetes, and chronic respiratory diseases are the leading cause of death worldwide. There are 38 million deaths a year due to these diseases, and the sad thing, most of these deaths happen in people less than 70 years old. In Oman, in the 70s, the common cause of death was the communicable diseases, i.e. infectious diseases. Now we have a different story. Walillah alhamd, and due to the support of His Majesty's government for healthcare and other sector, people are living longer. And with living longer comes other diseases. So non-communicable diseases now cause 72% of death in Oman. We had a survey last year across the country, and unfortunately diabetes in the rise, blood pressure, high blood pressure in the rise. Physical activities are still not as good as they should be. So what I'm urging everybody to look after their health. The government have the tools, the educational material, the treatment for these diseases, but it has to come from the person themselves first, to look after themselves, increase their physical activities, stop smoking, basically eat healthy diet. And everybody, I hope, knows what healthy diet. Too much sugar, too much fat, too much salt in food is a recipe for these diseases.
In his speech, the Director General of WHO said, like many countries, Oman has witnessed a dramatic transition in the burden of disease. Non-communicable diseases are now the leading cause of premature mortality in this country. More than half of all Omanis are now overweight or obese. 1 in 4 Omani adults have a high blood pressure. The nations of the world have agreed to take action against NCDs by reducing premature deaths by 1/3 by 2030 as part of the Sustainable Development Goals. He added, "We have made NCDs one of 5 key platforms in WHO's new General Program of Work as part of ambitions target to see 1 billion more people enjoying better health and well-being." Extension called talks and discussing means of strengthening health cooperation between the Southern and World Health Organization in various health fields. Top discussions at the meeting between His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, and His Excellency Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of World Health Organization, and his accompanying delegation on the sideline of the inauguration of the National Policy and Multi-Sectors Implementation Plan for Combating Non-Communicable Diseases. Director General of World Health Organization visited the Center for Managing Emergency Cases in the Ministry of Health and reviewed the health emergency system in addition to the role of the center during emergency cases. In the meantime, last night, WHO launched its country cooperation strategy for Oman under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, and on the occasion of the visit of His Excellency Dr. Tedros Adhanom, Director General of WHO. More details in the following report. The World Health Organization, jointly with the Ministry of Health, have launched its 5-year country cooperation strategy for WHO in Oman for the period 2018-2022. The event is organized under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, and on the occasion of the visit of Dr. Tedros Adhanom, WHO Director General. In addressing contemporary health issues, the Minister of Health is engaging in multi-sectorial partnership, and thus sectorial ministries, academia, civil society organizations, diplomats and multilateral organizations were present in the event.
This event is very important. As you know, WHO opened its office in Oman in the 1970s. So we have a very long history of partnership. And now what this particular event means to me is it's going to be a commitment to renew our partnership again. So this is a cooperation document from 2018 to 2022. And it's a joint document. It belongs to both the Sultanate of Oman and WHO. And this is a direction that we will take for the next 5 years, and look forward to working with Oman very, very closely.
Oman is not just recipient of WHO technical support. We are actually also helping WHO in many aspects. Oman have expertise who go to other countries to assess their healthcare system, and these are Omanis, and we are very proud of them. Oman led many initiatives in healthcare worldwide. Road Safety Oman was the first country to initiate this worldwide. Patient safety, which started only people talking about it in 2016. Oman was the country which proposed that we have, and WHO will have every year a day concentrating on patient safety, which we definitely need to do it year-round. So our central public health lab here is recognized by WHO, and it's the reference lab for many countries in the region for polio and other diseases. So it's a win-win situation. This strategy benefit for Oman, yes, but also for WHO and for the countries in the region.
The strategic priorities of the WHO cooperation in Oman in the coming years will focus on the strengthening the health system, particularly quality, safety and continuum of care, to enhance the sustainability, efficiency and equity of the health services. Building human resources for health, both in terms of quality and quantity, will continue to be high on the agenda. Priority is also in supporting Oman to meet the voluntary global targets of the United Nations Political Declaration on Non-Communicable Diseases and the Sustainable Development Goals. The Country Cooperation Strategy, CCS, is a medium-term vision to guide WHO's work in countries. It outlines WHO's cooperations with the member state in support of countries' national health policies, strategies and plans. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. The Sultanate, along with the world's countries, marks the World Wetlands Day. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A Russian passenger plane believed to be carrying 71 people crashed today afternoon near Moscow. Shortly after takeoff from one of the city's airport, no survivors were immediately reported. The N-148 regional jet disappeared from radar screens after a few minutes, departing from Domodedovo airport en route to the city of Orsk, some 1,500 kilometers southeast of Moscow. The plane reportedly belonged to Saratov Airlines, a Russian commercial carrier. Plane fragments were found in the Ramiskoye area, about 40 kilometers from the airport. Footage on state television showed them strewn across a snowy field with no buildings nearby. Some Damascus residents celebrated the news that an Israeli jet crashed after being shot at by Syrian anti-aircraft fire. Syria said its defenses responded to an Israeli raid on one of its military bases in the country's center, calling it a new aggression. A Syrian military official said that air defenses hit more than one Israeli plane. The Israeli military said one of its pilots has been seriously wounded as a result of an emergency evacuation from his F-16 jet that came under Syrian fire. A second pilot was slightly wounded. German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen met her Iraqi counterpart Irfan al-Hayali yesterday. The two officials discussed coalition military operations in Iraq and bilateral relations between the two countries. The German Defense Minister also met with country's military advisors in Iraq. Turkey's president announced that a Turkish military helicopter was downed in northern Syria during Ankara's offensive on Syria's Kurdish militia there. Speaking in Istanbul, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said those responsible will pay for it. The Turkish military said that 2 soldiers were killed and its attack's helicopters was destroyed at around 1 p.m. local time. A spokesman for the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, Mustafa Bali, said his fighters downed the chopper in Raju, northwest Afrin. Turkey launched a military offensive on January 20th to oust the YPG from Afrin. Turkey considers the group an extension of an insurgency within its own borders. 21 Turkish soldiers have died since the beginning of the operation. London's Natural History Museum starts exhibits DP there. The Diplodocus has gone on show outside of London for the first time in more than a century. The world-famous skeleton has begun a 3-year tour of UK at the Dorset County Museum in Dorchester. The exhibit has 292 bones and comes in 89 sections, which are actually casts of 4 sets of fossils found in North America, where DP lived 150 million years ago. DP was taken from London to Canada for cleaning and restoration before he was brought to Dorchester to undergo a 2-week process of being put back together. At almost 26 meters long, the Jurassic giant only just fits into the Dorset Museum. It's estimated that 5 million people will see DP as he travels the UK. And now back to some local news. The Sultanate, along with the world's countries, mark the World Wetlands Day. The natural reserves in the Sultanate are geographically determined areas and protected as per special laws in order to preserve these reserves. These plants and animal reserves, which reached 14 natural reserves, attracted more than 243,000 visitors during 2017 as per statistics issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information. Al-Bashair racetrack for camel races in the Wilaya of Adam in Al-Dakhiliya Governorate witnessed today the start of the third annual festival for Arabian camels. More details in the following report by Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi.
The third annual festival for Arabian camels started today with 25 rounds, full of excitement and competitiveness among the camels participating from both inside and outside the Sultanate. This racing festival is an opportunity for camel owners and coaches where they meet annually.
This is the third annual festival in Al-Bashair. It was very nice. Today they start running the show. The competition was very obvious from the morning between coaches.
الثامرية for Riyadh bin Thamara Sa'doun from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia won the first round. While Al-Aber for Muhammad bin Ali Al-Wahibi from the Sultanate won the second round.
We will continue by tomorrow and the day after tomorrow on the longer distances. The final will be on Thursday. It will start at the afternoon time.
In the third round, Takrim for Saleh bin Ahmed Al-Amri from the United Arab Emirates won this round. While Shaheen for Muhammad bin Qabil Al-Zur'i from the Sultanate won the fourth round. The rounds of the first day continued among noticeable competition and excitement among the coaches and owners of the camels. The first day of the festival was concluded by distributing the awards to the winners of the rounds. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya Governorate.
The Sultanate participated in the meeting of International Urban Forum in Malaysia. Around 25,000 participants are participated in the forum from various countries in the world, in addition to specialist academics and experts in the field of planning, engineering, housing, economy, investments in the field of real estate development and other concerned bodies, in order to exchange experiences in the field of modern urban planning and focusing on implementation of new urban plan connections 2030. The Sultanate delegation in the forum was chaired by His Excellency Engineer Saif bin Amr al-Sheikhi and the Secretary of the Ministry of Housing. In order to improve level of school students' transportation, the Minister of Education signed an agreement for supplying school buses in the Governorate of South Sharqiya with security and safety devices with financing of Oman LNG. The agreement in its first stage included 284 bus. 3 devices will be installed in the bus's sound and ultrasonic alarm system for warning that there are students inside the bus, after the existence of bus driver tracking device to monitor bus traffic within unified computer program connected to the education portal, and a device to control operation and stop the bus with magnetic card. The Minister of Education issued a decision for determining fees for services provided. The decision included fees for 38 services, among them registrations of non-Omanis in government schools, licenses for establishing private schools. The decision exempted Social Security families who wanted to register in adult education from paying the fees. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Excellency the Indian Prime Minister arrives in the Sultanate on an official 2-day visit. Coinciding with the Omani Industry Day, the winners of the Sultan Qaboos Award for Industrial Excellence are honored. The Minister of Health launches national policy and multi-sectorial plan on non-communicable diseases. And third annual festival for Arabian camels is inaugurated in Al-Bashair rest track amid wide participation of camels owners. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Good night.